Good morning, everyone. My name is Geoff Pellerin. I'm here at 12 Wings Shearwater Gym to give you guys today's work-in for the morning. Today's work-in is going to be flexibility and range of motion work. Okay, so we're going to be working on some range of motion for the lower body and upper body. We're going to kind of balance those things out today. Before we get going, I'm just going to read off the disclaimer. So just sit tight for a moment. In response to COVID-19, PSP is offering virtual fitness to Canadian Armed Forces members. By using social media platforms, the virtual fitness classes tailored to Canadian Armed Forces personnel become accessible to all. Participants who are not Canadian Armed Force members recognize and acknowledge that their age, health level, health status, and physical fitness level are unknown, and it is entirely up to each individual to assess their ability to participate in the class. Since it is preferable to consult your physician before planning any exercise program, we invite all participants who are not Canadian Armed Forces members to consult the Get Active questionnaire of the Canadian Society of Exercise Physiology and its reference document. If you experience any pain or difficulty during these exercises presented in the video, it is recommended that you stop and consult a healthcare provider. If a cast member does sustain an injury during this video, please remember to fill out a CF98, and the Get Active questionnaire is at the bottom of the link posted in the video. All right. So today, as I mentioned, flexibility, range of motion work. Okay, so a couple things that you might need for the class today would be some sort of block or elevated surface that you can put your foot up on. Okay, so we're kind of gonna use this as a calf stretch. So you got something like a book or a weight, just something that you can elevate the foot. You also might need something like this for support, okay? Just as kind of a support or a balance to help modify any movements. You might need a mat too if you don't have a nice soft surface like I do. And a water bottle is all you're going to need for today. If you did want like a pillow or a blanket for some extra comfort, then you can also use that. Or maybe even a chair, something that you can use for your balance and support. Feel free to play some of your own music in the background as well. I won't be playing any music for you guys today. And with that said, we're going to dive right into it. Okay? So just coming down to your mat or to the floor, whatever surface that you're on, we're just coming into all fours to start, okay? So hands and knees, we're just gonna move through some cat-cow. So we're gonna start by rounding the back. We're thinking about pushing through the palms a little bit and really just rounding as much as possible. And then dropping the belly, lifting that head back up, looking up towards the ceiling. And then repeating that, starting to round the back again. And then going into extension, dropping that belly. We're just going to keep moving through this for about 10, 15 reps, guys. So just going at your own pace with this. Start to use your breath by inhaling once you round and exhaling. couple more here. And last one. Yeah. All right, next one, we're gonna go into bird dog now. So staying on all fours, hands and knees. We're gonna start the left arm. So putting that straight out, arm is tucked in beside my ear, and then leg, opposite leg kicks out. So left arm out, right leg out, bringing those back together, and alternating now, right arm out, left leg out, and we're just going to alternate sides. We're going to hold for 2 or 3 seconds at the top. We're thinking about lengthening here, not overextending. Okay, so keeping that neutral spine. You're reaching towards opposite walls. And you can kind of just go at your own pace here with this one as well. Just count 1, 2, 3 at the top. 1, 2. A few more here. Start to feel some warmth through the body and the core. And last one here. Now we're just going to sit back on the heels for a minute here before we go into our next pose. Going to take a few breaths here, sitting back on the heels, stretching out those shins, a little bit through the quads. If you're tight in your quads, you'll feel this one. If you're tight in the ankles, that'll be pretty apparent when you sit back on your heels. Just breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. Good. Coming back to all fours now, we're just going to warm up those wrists a little bit. So just lifting the wrist off, and then the fingers go with it. So peel those wrists up, leaving the fingers down, and then push it with the fingers all the way up. Challenging. All right. Now, let's point those index fingers straight forward. Have our palms firmly pressed into the floor. And then from here, pushing through the floor, I'm going to raise those hips up. Okay. Going into our downward facing dog. Now just trying to lengthen the spine a little bit. Try to drop that head in between your hands, or in between your arms. Let those heels drop down to the floor. And going back to your breath.
And now we're just going to let the left heel drop and lift the right heel up. And then switch, dropping the right heel, lifting the left. And then alternating back and forth. Few more repetitions. And then we'll drop the knees down to the floor. Alright. Start to get warm. Let's bring ourselves all the way up now. Coming to a standing position. From here you can come to the start of your mat or the front of your mat if you're using one. If not, just find some space. We're bringing the feet together. Find a good solid position here, gripping the floor with your toes. We're going to bring the hands together to our center. And then from here, inhale, reach. And then exhale, folding forward, reaching for the floor. Inhale, lifting halfway up to flat back, and then exhale all the way down to high plank, holding for a couple seconds, and then controlling yourself down all the way to the floor, and then lifting halfway up. Okay, using the back to lift here, not pushing with my hands. Curling my toes under, pressing up into downward dog. A couple breaths here. And then stepping or jumping the feet all the way back up. Inhale, reach. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to high plank. Lowering down, pressing into upward facing dog. Curling the toes back into downward dog. Stepping or jumping the feet up. We'll do one more of these. Inhale, reach. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to high plank. Step or jump the feet back. Lowering down. Downward or upward facing dog. Press into downward facing dog again. And bringing the knees all the way down. Coming down to a seated position. That's it for our warm up. So, next we're going to actually get into our range of motion work. So, first part just kind of warming us up a little bit, kind of waking us up this morning after a Canada Day yesterday. Hope everyone had a good celebratory day. Our first pose that we're going to go into is a child's pose. And then we're going to have kind of a variation to what that normally looks like. So, from here, starting in a seated position on the knees, Just walking the hands all the way out, trying to keep your hips sitting back on your heels. And then extending the arms out in front, bringing the head down close to the floor, or just letting it drop in between. I'm just going to spend about 30 seconds here. Now, from here, we're going to walk our hands over to the right. Okay, walking the hands over to the right. Now, feeling a bit more of a stretch through the left side of the body, through our lats, a little bit through the shoulders. Good, now just walking over to the opposite side, over to the left side now. Should be feeling that through the right side of the body now. And remember, go back to the breath. Using that breath to help us relax and stay nice and calm and still in our poses. And now bringing the hands back to the middle. From here, we're going to stay in the center, but now we're going to flip our palms upwards, dropping the head in between the arms, and then bringing the hands up behind our head. So getting into more of a shoulder and upper back stretch now. If you can help it, try not to let your hands cross over each other. Should feel that through the triceps, the shoulders, and through the upper back. Straightening the arms back out and coming back up to a seated position. Finishing off with our child's pose. Shake out the arms a little bit there. All right, next one. Going to hands and knees, we're going to start with our right leg. So bringing the right leg out to the side. Trying to stay nice and straight with our hips here. Okay, so hips are right underneath the knee. Hands are out in front. Feeling a bit of a stretch in through the adductors, okay, or the inner thigh. So from here, you might have to adjust if you're flexible, you can go a little bit further out. Find a good spot for you where it's a stretching sensation, but it's not too much or too little. So try to find kind of that happy medium. We're just going to start to sink the hips back a little bit and then forward again. So moving in a dynamic way, so we're moving in and out, going a little bit deeper into the stretch as we sit back and then coming up. And come all the way forward. Just seeing kind of where we're at right now with our flexibility in this area. If this is really painful for you, then, well, it's also probably good for your body. But like I said, don't push too far. And just kind of going at your own pace here, moving in and out of the stretch. I'll do a couple more here. All right, that's good on that side. Going over to the left side now. Same idea here, just kind of finding that sweet spot first. So feeling the sensation in through the inner thigh. And then starting to sink back. And then coming forward, moving through. Nice and easy, at your own pace. For a few more repetitions here. All right, time's up for that side. And that finishes up our adductor stretch. All right, this next one is going to be a little bit challenging. So you will need kind of a hard surface to put your foot up or your knee up against. So I'm just going to use the back wall. Probably best that you guys do the same. You can also use your couch. This is specifically made to be done actually on your couch, this one. So I'll show you what it looks like first. So this is actually called couch stretch. So I'm going to use a mat for my knee just because I like a little extra comfort. And then I'm just going to use this foam roller as a support. So starting on all fours here, I'm going for my right knee. So I'm going to put my right leg up to the wall like so, okay? So bringing my knee as close as I can to the wall. And then from here, bringing my other foot forward. So right here, a little bit tricky to get into. If this is enough stretch for you, then stay right here, okay? If you're not really feeling it as much through the hips yet, then you can sit up tall, hence my support system right here. And that helps me find the target stretch I need, and it helps me sit a little more comfortable in the stretch. Okay, so the hip flexor is going to be the target for this one. We're going to spend about 1 minute in this position. Yes, I know it is a little bit unpleasant, so let's use that breath. Try to calm that mind a little bit. Take our mind off of the intensity, the discomfort that you might be feeling. It's pretty normal to feel some discomfort here, but making sure that that's a stretching sensation, not any internal or knee problem going on. If you do feel like anything is cramping or this is a little bit too much for you, come back down to 2 hands, okay? Or you can come out of the stretch and just do a regular lizard pose. I find the best way to get out of this is bringing the hands back down, leaning forward and turning out of it. Okay? I do want to show a quick modification or other variation for this stretch if that couch stretch is a bit too tricky. Okay? So if the couch stretch is too tricky or painful, you're simply just going to come into this deep lunge pose, and this one's called lizard, and you're just hanging out right here, okay, still targeting that back hip flexor, okay, and you can also come up tall too if that gives you a little bit more stretch, okay, so that's your option for the modification. If you're not modifying, let's go over to the other side if you haven't already and get set. Left foot up on the wall, right foot out to the side. I can feel that one already, so I'm going to stay down here for the first half of this one. Whew. That one is intense. Just smiling through this one. Time is up for that side. Nice work there, guys. That one is definitely a little bit more intense, a little bit unpleasant at times. All right. So next one is going to be a head to toe stretch. So with this one, we're going to use our block. Okay. If you have like a couple books, maybe a dumbbell, or just something where you can get your foot elevated, okay? From here,
with my foot being elevated, I'm going to have my back foot just turned out slightly. Okay, so it's not straight on. I'm turning it out just slightly. This helps me create a little bit of room in my hips. Okay, I want that back leg bent. Okay, so I can use it as my support system. So from here, with my front leg, toe elevated, I'm going to push my hip back and lean over that right leg. From here, I'm going to grab my toe if I can, or my other leg, and just start to pull a little bit. Okay, I'm not pulling too hard. Thinking about pushing my knee to my toe. Or sorry, my head to my toe. Not knee. It's early, guys. Now this one you will feel through the hamstrings. You'll feel this through your calves for sure. The deeper you go. And you might even feel it through the low back a little bit. That's it, guys. Stay with it. We're almost there. Use that breath. All right. Now, nice and easy. Don't rush out of this one. Bend that right knee again. And come on out. And give that leg a little shake. Probably feel some tingling sensation in there. That's totally normal. Feeling the blood rush back into my foot. All right, switching sides. Got that toe elevated. Got that back leg turned out slightly. And then from here, I find the best way for me to get into this is kind of rotate my hips towards the front leg and then push my hips back and fall right over that left side. Now hang tight here, guys. Sink into it. Feel that target area in the hamstrings, calves, low back. We're almost there, guys. Stay with it. Hang in there. 10 more seconds. All right. Slowly come back up. Shake that one out. All right. Nice work there, guys. Next one is going to be T-spine rotations. So, I'm going to come down to hands and knees again. Just get you guys to watch this one first. So, from hands and knees, start on the right side. I'm going to bring my hand beside my head. From here, I'm going to bring my elbow
to my opposite elbow, and then rotate. Okay, that's one. I'm going to do 10 rotations there. I'm going to switch sides, do 10 rotations there. And then once we've done 10 from the hands, we're going to go down to the elbows and do rotations from there. Okay? What this does is starts to open up the upper back and T-spine area. Okay, so our T-spine is kind of that curvature we see in the upper back, especially if we're sitting at a desk or on our phones. We see that kind of rounded position where we want to fix that and get a little bit more open through the T-spine so we can sit taller, we can have more of a proud chest, and we don't see this poor rounded back position. Okay? So starting off, hands and knees, right hand behind the head, bring it to the elbow, and rotate. So the idea here, guys, is to find a little bit of room as you go through these reps. Okay, so my first rotation should not look like my 10th one. Okay, my first one might be a little bit short, and then by the time I get to 10, there's 5. I might be looking up at the ceiling, hopefully. Eight, 9, and 10. Awesome. And then just switching sides. Again, here, going at your own pace, guys. Don't have to go with me on this one, but don't rush through it, okay? Make sure you're taking your time. There's 5 for me. And 10. Huge difference. All right. So now we did 10 from our hands. Now we're going to go down to our elbows. This one is a little bit more tricky, but trust me, it does work. Okay? From here, down to the elbow, opposite elbow, we'll rotate. Ooh. There's 10 on the right side, and switch to the left. And this will be our last movement here, guys. All right, shake that one out. And we'll have time for one more finishing stretch here. So, I was just kidding. Wasn't our last stretch, but this one will be. All right, butterfly stretch. Feet are together. You can grab your toes, let your knees drop, and then from here you can stay tall or you can just fold forward. Up to you. We'll just be here for a couple minutes. Excuse me. All right, time just about up there, guys. All right, thank you all for coming out and tuning in with me this morning. I hope you got some benefit from our stretches today and improved your range of motion. I will be back this afternoon at noon for another workout or work-in. That will be lower body and core, okay? So at noon, I'll be teaching another one here for lower body and core, and we have another one, can't remember who's doing it, at 11 will be another separate workout, I think force focus, I believe, or force performance maybe. Tune into that if you're interested, but thanks again for coming out, guys. We will see you again next time.